Hey yo, Wagwan. This here is Djibril. Um, Give me a couple of seconds for my friend Carter to join. Yeah, there he is, Carter. What's up, Carter? How you doing, man?
Doing well, doing well.
Yeah,
Getting technical difficulties, we are.
it's just a little bit. My life is falling apart right now, but
Hey, but
we
happy Friday.
doing this. We doing this. So, why don't you tell our two viewers, and I'm pretty sure those two are both you and I, what we're gonna do, and then we do a quick intro, and then take it from there.
There's not really anyone in here yet. You want to just, introduce each other, like to each other type of thing, since we have the option or the opportunity to hop on the phone earlier. So I can kind
Bless.
of, I
Go
can kind
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was born and raised in Ohio, in Cincinnati. Came to Boston College, which is where I'm at now. I'm studying finance, accounting, and a minor in computer science.
Yeah.
As you know, I went on diiVe after my freshman year. I'm a junior now. What else? On campus, I spend a lot of time as a water polo player on the team here, um, and also in the Information Systems Academy, where I set up events with tech companies in the area, basically. So that's
Yes.
kind of a lot of what I like to do. Interest-wise, anything outdoors, anything hiking, trail running, swimming, and then also I would say I really like live music and stand-up comedy. How about that? That's my elevator pitch right there.
Live music and that's. It just reminded me of an old game that's the one we used to call polo. Basically, every time when I was a kid, me and my family when we went to the pool, somebody would dive underwater,
Mm.
and when they come up, they weren't allowed to look. So people who are around them were supposed to scream Marco, and then you answer polo, and that's how you know where they were, and you were supposed to catch them.
Yeah, we play.
Sorry.
I said we also play Marco Polo in my hometown.
Yeah, it's when I got here and I heard water polo was a competitive sport. I was like, God damn, it's as Americans move different. Not they take their polo very very serious.
Yeah, indeed.
I am from East Africa, Rwanda. Um, Finished my high school there, then took a gap year program over there. It lasted about 2 years. That's how I got the scholarship to come study at Harvard. Currently a junior as well. Um, you beat me to it because I did dive sophomore year, so
Right.
you had a little bit of a head start. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now I study economic. I chose to concentrate in economics with a minor in African studies. Um, my passions: indoor soccer, music. I do music a lot. Because of the whole global pandemic thing, a lot of time opened up. I started mixing music a little bit on my laptop. So yeah, that's about me. You know.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, I'm currently teaching myself a little guitar right now. So
Let's go. Are we? Do you have it close by just so you can flex a little bit?
I was
It's,
actually just before this started. That's why.
it's like, oh, music. I like music too. My guitar it happens to be here. Goes
Head out
off
right now.
Santana. What kind of music you into, man? What kind of genre guitar?
Yeah, I mean, it bounces around. I'm learning acoustic, so I really do like the classic rock type stuff.
Mm.
Um, a lot of I haven't learned a lot of songs. I'm doing chords, but probably my number one is Bob Seger. I'm learning night moves right now. But other than that, I like to listen to a lot of rap if I'm lifting, and then if I'm running, I like to listen to alternative or sometimes some remixes as well.
Yeah.
Uh, Definitely at like social gatherings and whatnot, remixes are big, especially here in Boston.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's about it. And how about you?
Jillian just joined. A quick shout out to Jillian.
What's up?
That's somebody who I think was in your cohort and mine, right?
She was in both. Best of both worlds.
I don't know about that, man. That's because she was pretty stoic at the beginning with my cohort.
Mm.
It's pretending she doesn't care about nothing, you know. Yeah, Jill, I'm
Oh,
trash talking you.
tough shell to crack, huh? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes, but once she opened up, really, it's just a big teddy bear, fluffy inside. But anyways, so what were your thoughts before coming into the program? That's dive. That is, if anybody's wondering what we're talking about.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so I was a freshman at Boston College at the time. Really knew nothing what I wanted to do degree wise. So I saw this opportunity to go to South Africa for a month, learn about blockchain technology, and really just get like outside of my comfort zone, try to do something new with a whole lot of time that I had to do nothing with. So there was a lot of uncertainty there, being like the first cohort to actually go, and it was an external program. But I just thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of go after in the unknown, and it was one of the best decisions that I've ever made for sure. So definitely also want to hear about your end, about this past too, and kind of how that went in this COVID environment.
Yeah, I hear you. First off, when I met Elspeth the first time, it's just a bundle of energy. She immediately drew me in. I was like, every time I feel like somebody is great, I make perhaps the unreasonable assumption that the programming that they're repping must be great too. So I met her and then Devin, and I was just like, I love their vibes, both of them.
For
So
sure.
that got me interested into looking into dive, and then I just discovered an amazing program that's based in South Africa. And since I'm from Africa, I always just trying to do stuff that are relating to the continent. And I just thought South Africa, it's both a cultural immersion plus I get to build up some experience. I also had no idea what consulting was, but I knew that's basically what a lot of people after college kind of leased their soul to. So I was like, why not? Why not? And then this little something called the pandemic said, yeah, that ain't happening. So I think the three different programs were all consolidated in one. I wanted to do consulting anyways, but some of my friends thought they were gonna do like blockchain or programming or whatever the techie stuff is. What you will find is one of the most technologically challenged people on this earth. I could barely get this Instagram life to start, but it turned out to be very, very different, both because of the pandemic situation, everything was online, and because I just could not expect what the program would entail in and of itself. But yeah, quick question: who comped you, man?
Who what?
Who comped you? Was it Elspeth who came
Yeah.
to your
So
school?
I signed up. I just like kind of basically applied off a whim,
Mm.
and got an interview, and it was Elspeth that interviewed me. So that was like my first interview ever. So I took it super seriously, put on a suit and all this stuff. And you know, in hindsight, probably wasn't necessary. But
I know I did exactly the same thing, man. I came through with all the winter
oh,
coat, high end shit, and yeah.
oh, cards. But talked to Elspeth. Really didn't expect to like be offered a position on the program because it seemed like a pretty cool, you know, thing to do, and I didn't have really any experience. But when I was extended the offer, then that's when I really had to, I had to do a lot more due diligence. Kind of talked about, talk to Elspeth, talk to Devin, figure out what this program is, its efficacy, which was totally great at the end of the day. Very happy about it, but that was kind of my intro to it.
Yeah.
And just decided to sign at the dotted line at the end of the day and hop on that plane.
Okay. So and going through it, uh, when did you start enjoying it? When what moments can you look back to and say, oh, I absolutely love this moment?
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely very like, you know, getting off a 9-hour flight from Amsterdam after flying across the Atlantic Ocean. There's a lot of uncertainty there. So I was just keeping an open mind, honestly. I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
Open mind on everything, literally, and it didn't take long. All of the people in the cohort were just amazing. Talked about Jill, also Emily, and then everyone else. I don't know if anyone's in here right now, but everyone else. Oh, Tabo's here. Shout out Tabo, my boy. Tabo's an absolute good guy. We got along fabulously. He's coming
I,
to
I think he came through during one of our events where
yeah.
yeah.
But really after the cohort started to gel, it's over to Long Street, Tabo, and after we started to really bond as a group over, it didn't take that long, you know, only being there for a month, but I knew pretty early on that it would be an amazing experience, and it definitely proved to be. But, you know, could you kind of talk about how did the dive team kind of make it work in this virtual environment, and kind of at what point did you really realize that it was worth your time to be a part of that program?
Yeah, it was definitely very mechanical at the beginning with the whole okay, you have a buddy, but you can't really connect to your buddy as much as they would want us to because it's online. And the second somebody puts on in that breakout room timer and says, okay, now
Right.
go familiarize yourself with this person.
Speed dating.
And you need to unmute and mute yourself before you say something. By the time you think of something funny and you say it and you mute it, and he says, "My G, you're on mute." You know, it's not. It wasn't working out great at first, but then as you go along, especially for me, it started becoming more organic when we got placed with a client, and then it required outside of the assigned class time or the webinars that we had to connect with the people, and then that's where you start seeing people's personalities come through. We had this actually, Elspeth's sister was part of my team, Ainsley.
I don't think
Sorry.
I don't think I met Elspeth's sister, but that's cool.
Yeah, it's man, she is just an awesome, bubbling personality. She started coming through with the memes, with the WhatsApp group. She's very yellow. If y'all did the color test.
I don't think I did, but that's good. I know exactly.
Yeah, and yeah, you start scheduling times outside of work times with people, and you connect on a deeper level. And like I said, to answer your question in a more direct way, it started becoming more organic to me when we were placed with the clients, and you had a smaller group of people that you're trying to know better, because it's like, I don't know, 20 people in the general lectures or times when we're all in a big group and we were trying to do trivia, and you're trying to meet everybody who is talking over each other. It's just not great. But in a smaller group setting, it just worked out actually more than I thought. Much more than I thought. Yeah.
It's good. Hey, George.
So we know it's not all too rosy. I know too well that dive can have some moments where it's all fun and games until everybody's tired, until everybody has been in a meeting that is just inefficient, going way too long, but things are not being done. So what would you say was your hardest part of the experience?
Yeah, I mean, it came a lot more naturally than I thought I would. That, I thought it was going to be a lot harder and kind of connect people from all around the world who have different backgrounds, different cultures. I remember, it's like a light bulb memory of mine, was that we were all talking about how we have these different backgrounds. Like, there's no way we have the same music taste, because all of us, it was like the third night, all of us are in an apartment and we're trying to cook dinner for each other from our different cuisines and backgrounds. And we're like, and there's a speaker, and we're like, someone play music. Mm-hmm. Like, there's any artist that we all like. It boiled down to Frank Ocean. Everyone loves Frank. He was the ice.
That's a safe choice. That's a safe choice always.
Yeah. Oh, it's a safe bet. So apparently Frank Ocean, goes transcends every background. But you know, the hardest part was it had to be kind of as the program went along, I would say, in a sense, and the aspect that just the advancement of the curriculum, you know, you have a certain idea in your mind of what you're going to learn, the skill set you're going to walk out with. And I think that when there's kind of a cognitive dissonance, when there's a difference between what you expected and what's happening, you know, it kind of creates that anxiety in a sense. So I think our group had that a little bit towards the end, and that was difficult, but we really worked through those problems by just getting together and, as you said, just communicating, just
Yeah.
like trying to voice our concerns and then getting response, getting feedback, giving feedback. You know, it's the case with every startup, with any entrepreneurial anything. There's going to be hiccups and speed bumps, but I think that both the cohort and dive team really tackled it well, and I'm still extremely happy about the program. So that was definitely a challenge, but I'm happy with how we kind of hurdled it.
Yeah, going off of what you just said, especially in the multicultural context that a lot of the dive teams are, there is gonna be friction at a certain point. And it was a little bit unrealistic of me to expect that, you know, all right, all the positive attitude in this in the world is gonna take us through. But there was a point where I felt like somebody that was part of my team wasn't exactly pulling their weight. And I said so in a team meeting, but they didn't take it too well. And during one of the mentor review that they do, where they take every team individual and kind of ask them, what is your experience like? Here's what your teammates feel about you. The feedback that we got, you know. I don't know if you know Michael. He was my mentor.
Not sure. I think I may have met him, but not in person. Do you know?
Yeah, and he's a great guy. So he said, I noticed that there might be some friction between you and person X. And once I heard that, one thing that is hard to do about virtual is to do a little bit of conflict resolution, because you can't really see somebody's body language or facial expression well enough to read all the extra verbal cues that they're giving off. So, and you have to wait for the timelines to be aligned before you can actually address the person and trying to resolve the issue. But once we got the timelines and we sat down together and we talked it out, it made the group so much more efficient because there was less tension, and everybody feels the tension when it's there. So that was definitely, I think, the hardest part of the experience is one to connect, and two, when there is friction, how to get over it. But everything is definitely just manageable once you figure out the communication part.
I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, communication was just so huge in our cohort. You know, as you said, kind of having those different backgrounds, you're gonna have different experiences, different, you know, different notions and views of the world. That is naturally over time. Yeah, as you said, you can be super open-minded, super happy, super yellow about it. But you know, at the end of the day, you're gonna have different views on something. And when you really dig into those difficult topics, there's always going to be that friction and that friction. But I do think it's just something that our cohort tackled beautifully. Honestly, I was most amazed about was just how we can take those differences and really just hear each other and kind of move forward from that.
Yeah. And all of that, I would say, is visible in the end product that y'all put on the table for the client.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So how just moving on, how would you say it shaped your future endeavors, the dive experience?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that in my sense, I did blockchain, right? I did not do consulting. So I was doing something as just after my freshman year, trying to learn something new about a potentially disruptive technology. I think that more than anything, dive didn't, you know, push me in the direction of, oh, I'm going to be a blockchain engineer. You know, like that's not at all the impact that happened. It was more of just such a formative experience where I learned so much about myself and so much about how my skills and interests really honing those in, really understanding those a lot more by putting myself in an environment that I'd never been in. So it was huge growth for me overall. And then also just a really big differentiator um, on a resume. So I just talked to you about how I had an interview right before this, and
Yeah, yeah,
on the behavioral section of it, they asked almost immediately about my experience in South Africa. And
yeah.
it's so easy to talk about something that you were so passionate about and move that into a conversation and really just express how it applies to current career paths. So um, I'm definitely still going in that business advisory route, particularly investment banking. That's what I'm in a recruiting process for right now. Um, and diiVe has been really helpful in just kind of giving me that experience. But I I definitely want to hear on your end too how consulting aspect of things really like helped you in any way to hone in your career
Oh
experience.
yeah. I'd go like I mentioned earlier. Going in, I wanted to check out consulting, but now I'm fairly certain that that's where I want to end up. So I'm also doing applications to summer internships for 2021. And the feedback that I've gotten so far is you've really gotten a great work experience. The diiVe, every time I explain the diiVe experience, all the top five employer research skills come up. It's teamwork, there's leadership, there's, cross-cultural sensitivity.
Yeah.
And all of that was diiVe. It's just you go through a checklist of the top five most employer research skills, and it's all right there. And besides that, once you have decided what you want to apply for, the diiVe team really comes through with all of those letters of recommendation. I can't tell you the number of times I've been on the phone personally with Elspeth, um, who gave me great tips with resume, who connected me to a vast and extensive network. So I think diiVe really hammered the nail in for me in terms of career interests and options. And my message to somebody who is wondering whether applying to diiVe or not is stop playing yourself because you're sleeping. You're absolutely sleeping. It's if you don't gain a passion, you will gain skills and friendship, and you will have so much fun, be it in person or um, over Zoom. diiVe now knows what we did. We were the lab rats for y'all, and we can attest that it works. I've had such a great time. Um, maybe you can just tell them a little bit about what uh, maybe you can speak a little bit about what somebody think about applying would or should do.
I mean, I definitely agree with that. At the end of the day, it's going to give you an experience, at the very least, an experience that will completely change your view on the world. It'll incorporate so many perspectives of people from around the world in hopefully a curriculum that has made as much of an impact as it has in your instance. Really hammering that nail in. I think that's invaluable to have that experience. So, I learned so much about myself and about my career path from it, and definitely excited to kind of see how they expand it and how they continue to really tackle these hurdles. Like I was amazed to hear that diiVe was able to, you know, tackle the COVID hurdle as a study abroad international like program. It's amazing to me, and still create an experience that you guys talk about as being valuable, worthwhile, and all those things. So if they can do that in their second year, the sky's the limit in my opinion. So I would definitely give, I would definitely be open to talking to anybody about their personal interests and goals, and just talk to them about how diiVe could potentially fit that, because it's not a cookie cutter program. It's not for people who are interested in consulting. It's not for people who want this or that or the other thing. It's not cookie cutter at all. I think there's a ton of applications, and I think the best way to kind of start that process is talking to people like us. So
100%. I think that's one of the great aspects of the dive community, anybody's just willing to chime in, give you a piece of advice and that time, and I think that's great. And yeah, I'm just gonna echo what you just said. If anybody needs help deciding whether to attend or not, or just have a conversation about anything at all, we are both there for that. And I think we are summing it up, man.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It was great talking to Jabril, and let's definitely keep in touch about our respective internship.
Yes, fam. Good luck with your applications and your interviews.
Same with you.
It's they'd be playing themselves if they didn't take you, man. It's a great conversation, fam.
Appreciate it.
Take care,
I'll talk to you later, man.
Bye. All right, fam.